This is going to be a response to Tommy Oliver's Exile. Take that part with a bit of mirth. And I've been requested to give my real thoughts on Toon Critic by Toon Critic. We'll get there in a moment.
I'm sure just mentioning this is gonna piss off a lot of you guys. I'm sure this video is being bombarded with downvotes and negative comments as I speak, but I can't help but seem to notice that this series doesn't seem to care.
Tom, have you considered turning your comments off? There's a certain gentleman who has a wonderful system of letting a handful of comments through. Now, while I don't agree with this tactic, it seems very relaxing. I mean, if we're doing a social experiment, I think old JP might have the right idea. I think you can auto-approve certain people on your channel. Just grab 10 lucky random fans every video and let them in. Bam, no headache. Now then, Toon Critic, you've asked me to share my real thoughts on you. I could probably re-release this video 10 different ways and have them all be honest and completely different. I'm going to be critical with you and temper that with keeping some of the personal grievances private, just in case Josh is listening. Toon, when you showed up on the Bernie scene, and a bit after that you put on an air of a snarky kid, I was curious to see where that kid was going to go. And obviously, that beginning being Equestria Girls and continuing on through Season 4. Toon, I would tell any of my friends this, but you've gotten a touch lazy. Now, this is just me, and I hate First Impression series. You've done one episodic review in all of Season 5. Castle, Sweet Castle, while I can totally appreciate doing a 3-minute runtime.
Life Everyday Adventures of the Main Six. During a breakfast at Twilight.
On an episode, it took you 48 seconds to get there. Toon, we need to talk. I know what it's like to be overshadowed by one's peers and to feel discouraged, blah blah blah. I mean, seriously, Toon, it's wide open right now. Everyone's update schedule is complete. I'm not gonna name drop anyone, not just out of politeness, but if you really went after it, you could be top 5 fairly easy. I've been asked, who's my favorite reviewer for Season 5 in the past? And I'd say Brawny Buck mostly for consistency.
For you to meet my friend Tree Hugger.
Wait a second.
I'd like to be a tree.
Tree hugger?
Oh god, the implications.
With so many people leaving, skipping weeks off, phoning it in. I mean, Silver Quill is amazing, but when he gets around to updating. But back to your Castle Sweet Castle review. You spend a healthy fat chunk of this recapping the episode. Now, I don't want to sound like past analysis, so I'm going to let that speak for itself. Also, you resort to topical humor and reference quite a bit, seeing an issue in the episode and talking about how it relates on a personal level. I've seen that somewhere before.
Diver, but telling her that it was an unwise and unadvised choice of passion. If you've ever watched my video about how to get into analysis, you may remember how I dedicated the entire first 10 minutes of the video to basically asking the viewer why they wanted to get into making analysis videos. That's because I don't really consider this a career choice that I would advise other people to go down, even though I love doing it myself. Whenever people ask me something about making money off of YouTube videos, the first thing I tell them about is all of the reasons YouTube is a shitty employer and why YouTube popularity is both difficult to gain and fickle to hold on to. That's not to say that I discourage becoming a YouTube videographer, but I also don't want to glamorize it. If you talk to people who try to get into the creative arts, you'll hear countless stories of disillusion.
And that's a fantastic tactic. When you mentioned the apartment and Homesickness, you sounded like you had a personal story to tell. You opted to skip it.
Understandable, seeing as how the castle is so overwhelming to wake up to, and it's always hard to move into a new environment. You know, it's sort of like moving from an apartment to a mansion. It would freak anyone out. So, Twilight's...
And that's a fantastic tactic.
Simultaneously works positively by giving Granny Smith the confidence to perform at her full potential, as well as having the negative effect of making Granny believe that she's more healthy and capable than she really is. If we let it, this could take us down a pretty deep rabbit hole discussing the powers of confidence and faith versus the powers of medicine and the inevitability of death. The best way I can think of to explain what I mean is through myself and my dad. My family is decidedly non-religious, though in the mid-2000s my dad had a big spiritual awakening. In the process of reading a lot of spiritual and philosophical books, he came across one called The Secret, which claims that the secret to getting what you want in life is to believe that you will get those things. Essentially, the idea is that the universe consists of a shared energy between all life forms, and that this energy can be manipulated through individual actions. I'm simplifying it a lot, but bear with me. By pouring a certain thought and energy into the universe, you can make that thought become reality, but only if you believe wholeheartedly that it is going going to be true. The book and movie present these concepts almost like an infomercial would, but in reality this is kind of a high-scale spiritual placebo effect.
When you mentioned the apartment and homesickness, you sounded like you had a personal story to tell. You opted to skip it. You know what? This somehow turned into a commentary. I must be hanging out with Rhino Mills too much. Fuck it, I'm stealing his poses. Fair use, bitch. Just pretend like this voice is all high and I haven't hit puberty yet. Now,
This leads into the song of the episode, and, well, it's not Daniel Ingram's best, but it shows that the others have good intentions, and while commendable, it doesn't play out the way everyone's expecting. This is where people have...
I'm not a music guy, Toon, and I don't pretend to be, but you know, not only did you not analyze the song, you also didn't review it. You recapped the song, like a student padding out a paper who expects to be graded on length. If only there were a way to properly express how I'm feeling right now.
You lazy fuck.
That'll do, Biter. That'll do. Toon, it's 1 minute 54 seconds out of 3 minutes 24 on your video of Castle Sweet Castle, and so far, your high point is the Kim Jong-un joke about Starlight Glimmer. That's not even in the episode. I did like the Ticketmaster comparison.
in like 5 seasons together, haven't we seen this before? Yes, we have, but on different terms each time. It kind of reminds me of the Ticketmaster, but it shows me how far these 5 have come since then. I like the arguments though. I think it makes the group dynamic that more real. Some say it's taking a step back in the writing. I say it's a necessary step to remind us why they're all friends.
Making the observation on how far the main 6 have come. If you didn't have all that much to say about this episode, you might have considered making this the episode's focal point, with Castle Sweet Castle merely being the base, and focusing on the development of the main 6 till now. But seriously, in a 3-minute video, you hit your stride in the last minute. So again, being critical, that's better, you can have a good, passable 3-minute review, or I'm just being stubborn to admit I'm being lazy myself, but you have to hit the ground running. I think you abandoned this format seeing your first impression series did better and possibly took less work. Your review format could have worked. It still can. Season 5 is far from coming at us at a breakneck speed. Hell, we're in a 3-week drought. I have a lot more to say naturally, but I felt this would do for a sample. Just as I told Anime Wolfgamer, these are my real thoughts. They're just not all of them. So till next time, don't ask why a field burns or a plague spreads. All for no good reason.